All right, this is a short video to go over the zip tie safety certification process. At Nicolet High School, we have a very in-depth zip tie certification process that's built around the concept of personalized learning in the fact that we want students to address what they need in terms of their ability, at the same time being able to master and or succeed at the level in which they want to attain. Simply put, a student who wants to be in a class or do coursework or participate in work that's going to take place in the fabrication lab, which is going to require them to use the tools, methods, and skills, they're going to have to obtain the ability to work and use various equipment and materials through our certification process. Those are outlined in various ways. A student who is just starting out and or working in an introductory Engineering Robotics 1 course may not need as much as, say, a Fabrication 3 or 4 student, or if a student were to be participating in the FEAR program, their needs may differ depending on what their projects that they're engaging in terms of what they're trying to complete. So again, a student may not need every single certification or may not choose to get every certification based on the coursework that they're doing or the extra work that they're going to be accomplishing beyond the classroom. So that being said, I just want to run through the zip tie safety certification process, as well as outline a few changes or a couple pieces that have occurred over time. A long time ago, we've obviously always wanted to make sure that students were learning and gaining the ability to be safe in the lab, but that process was always difficult to transfer and or educate people on what certain people were capable of doing, specifically students that were working with instructors or mentors that hadn't been present for early completion of skill sets, and then were not able to task or assist students properly. So we went to a zip tie system that allows students to wear zip tie safety glasses, and then we're able to provide zip ties to those students over time. And so we have zip ties that work with regards to being applied to safety glasses, and those zip ties are in a number of areas. In the basic level, we have green, gray, and yellow. Green has to do with general PPE and lab procedure and being able to be safe in the lab environment. Gray has to do with working with hand tools, whether those are power hand tools, air-driven hand tools, or just standard hand tools, which with like screwdrivers, hammers, drills, pneumatic clippers. Those are all in the hand tool category. And then yellow, which is our electrical safety, which is based around using wires, soldering, those types of things, just general electrical safety that may be in a student's wheelhouse. We ask the basics to be covered by every student that's going to be in the lab, just so they have a general understanding and understanding of the safety necessary to be in that environment. The intermediate level deals with the neon yellow drill press specifically, and the equipment and materials that are used and the tooling that is used with a drill press. Followed by orange. In the orange intermediate category, orange is the class 1 separation tool. Those are going to be your scroll saw, table saw, miter saw, band saw that are generally used to cut, and when I say band saw, vertical band saw, generally used to cut polymers, plastics, and woods, but they could be used to cut metals in some very specific cases, and making sure that students know how to operate those tools. The pink is our class 2 separation tools, which include the jointer and planer, as well as a couple other unique tools in the wood separation category that may not be necessary for all students. The dark blue is a class 3 separation tools, which has to do with the metal chop saw for ferrous as well as aluminum chop saw. The horizontal band saw is also included under the dark blue, but it's basically a separation tool that's going to be primarily with regards to metals. Finally, we have magenta rounding out our intermediate category, which has to do with cold forming. Typically the brake, press, foot shear, or the combination shear are going to be included in our cold forming. And finally, the advanced area, we have the metal machining area with regards to the red, which would be our lathe and manual mill. Learning how to measure and calibrate and set those machines up, as well as being able to turn or create components through metal machining. The sky blue is our CNC work, which would include the plasma cam, the Tormach, and the router table. And finally, the purple area, which has to do with the welding and plasma sections with regards to being able to specifically weld materials and cut materials using MIG welding as our primary welding style and the hand plasma cutter. And then finally we have the mastery level, or the silver zip tie, which is the person who has completed all of the basic, intermediate, and advanced areas and has demonstrated mastery through a fabrication process with regards to either completing all of the fabrication widgets or completing a designated project that the instructor has certified as a fabrication mastery level product. So those are our safety zip ties and the understanding behind each of those areas. What you need to do to complete each of these is going to be a little bit different, but in general, there is going to be a written document in which you can refer to, a demonstration, whether that's through video or through face-to-face time. And then there's going to be a written test as well as a practical use of the tool, whether that's through widget development or just overall skill creation that will associate with earning those zip ties. So if you think about it in the sense of a driver's test or a driver program in earning a license, you can think of it in those terms, where you have to learn about the skills, you have to demonstrate the skills, you have to be able to regurgitate the general rules and responsibilities, and then be able to provide an acceptable score in terms of a practical examination in order to use a car. The same would be applicable in this instance with regards to being able to enter the lab and use various tools, as well as demonstrate competency and mastery of overall concepts. So that's the zip tie Nicolet certification system at Nicolet High School. Thank you for paying attention.